Stream, got it. And let's go.
We need to shorten that intro too, by the way. We need to shorten it.
Was it too long?
It's a bit too long.
I have
Yeah.
to. Today's well, I have to fix that, but today is gonna be what it is.
Yes.
Can't do anything about it right
Yeah.
now. We are live.
We are live. Let's go.
Let's go.
Woo!
Roll.
Roll it.
Whoa. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Still, how much is still beginners?
Yeah, we're still way to begin this. And there it is. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the B.R.A. podcast, where we talk about everything and anything. Can you believe we're on the 7th episode? What do you know? We have made it. We've made it, lads, on the 7th episode. All right. Today we're gonna. It's pretty much 2 topics. No, that's like 3, but 2 topics. 2 of them are intertwined. It's kind of on the same realm. So we're gonna watch 2 videos and discuss those 2 topics that are on the similar, same realm, and then we'll go into the next video after those 2, which is a different topic, and it's pretty recent, and it's something that it's going on like right now. So we can discuss there and see where our point of views and our ideas and our minds is at with all those videos and those topics. So, all right. Let me share the screen and let's begin. So, share. All right. Let me sound this on.
Roosevelt, before we go.
Not this one. This is the last video. Okay, let's go to this one. So let's start with this one. Unless you want to start with this small one.
That was a small one.
Let's start with this one then.
Yeah.
This one is a smaller, quick video. All right, let's hear what he has to say, and then we can jump in and discuss our thoughts. Who's gonna go first?
I can go first.
All right, Angelo is first. And there it is.
And I came to realize recently, it's all an offering to God. And if you're making an offering to God, you're not thinking about, oh, what's the budget? Or I hope this segment of the audience is going to like it. We don't think like that. It's a higher vibration. We're making the best we can make to the best of our ability out of love and devotion. That's what it is. And there is no, I'm changing it for someone else, because it can't be better than this devotional act that we're doing. There is no higher form.
Do you want to watch it again?
I know. Yeah, I got what he's saying.
Okay, okay. I have a quick question. So what's that all about again?
Do you want
Well,
do you want to watch again?
You can play it again so I can just try to understand what it's all about.
All right.
And I came to realize recently it's all an offering to God. And if you're making an offering to God, you're not thinking about, oh, what's the budget? Or I hope this segment of the audience is going to like it. We don't think like that. It's a higher vibration. We're making the best we can make to the best of our ability out of love and devotion. That's what it is. And there is no, I'm changing it for someone else, because it can't be better than this devotional act that we're doing. There is no higher form.
Do you understand?
I'm trying to get the context, but yeah, I think I understand what he's trying to say here. But is it? I'll let Angelo go first, and then we'll talk about when it comes to me.
All right. Let me stop
Yeah.
sharing the screen for now. We're
uh,
back. Okay.
you can leave it on. You can leave it on as
what
we
what
speaking.
what do you think he's talking about?
What if he's talking about like your personal ambitions, like what you focus your energy on, like what you do as what you dedicate your time, your talent, your energy, your intelligence towards. And he's saying if you're not doing it like in a form of like where it's an offering to God, well, like what you're doing is to appease God or to appease something, or for a greater reason. Usually what we do, we don't put too much energy into it, and we don't tend to succeed at it or make something fruitful out of it, unless you put in 100% energy, you take that thing seriously. Like we do it already in society. Like people do that with like their businesses, like with their art projects, with their careers, with their families, with their kin. You can literally make something become a god without you knowing you're turning into a god because of the sacrifices you're making to achieve that thing. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Are you sure he's not talking about music?
But him is making the sense like of music in the form of art, though, like in the form of art. But it's saying like you can apply that same theory to anything you want to do. You can achieve it if you do it for something that's bigger than you. So I'm getting from it. So anything, not just in art. By the way, the dude has made amazing music, by the way, or has helped produce amazing music.
Is he Christian?
I don't know, but he seems to be very in tune with himself, though.
Because if he's not Christian, he's definitely not coming from a Christian point of view. So he's probably talking more about new age stuff, which is quite different.
Everyone is a lot of the points of views.
All right. What do you
Send
think,
it.
Frank?
No, you go. I'll go last because I'm still trying to understand the whole,
It's your turn, bro. I'm hosting.
Bruh.
Come on,
okay.
man.
All right, okay.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about music and art form. That's what he's
not
going.
to me, from what it's coming from, it looks like he's talking about, how in churches, you have people with budgets, where you have, or just in any type of business that you're trying to do, like what you put in to, to try and have an outcome, I can't hear myself.
Like we can hear you clear, bro.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. What was on about?
Okay, all right. I'll help you with this.
Yeah. So,
all right.
So
wait.
So
I'll help you with this.
Mm-hmm.
Try to think first. Try to think what he's trying. If he was talking about music and art, and then you go into what you think, what you thought, like we're in a different path, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I'm
If
trying to
you,
understand.
yeah,
I'm
if
trying
he
to understand.
if he
Yeah.
was talking about music and art, what do you think about that?
If you're talking about music and art.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you're talking about music and art on, if in terms of, like how much investment you need to put
Mm.
into whatever you need to do, then but it sounds a little bit spiritual to me though,
Oh
because
yes.
everything, because from what I'm getting, what it's saying
Mm.
is that uh everything that you do, like you can't just have a budget or think about it too much, you know,
Mm.
uh when doing something, because it has to be like an offer to God. And when
Mm.
you're offering something to God, you
Mm.
know, from what comes to my head, like when
Mm.
I think about Bible stories,
Mm.
when our old school, offered stuff to God, they didn't hold back. Like he went to a point even when, some of our old school offered their own children to God, like to kill, you know. So they didn't hold back, and that was to try and show to God that, hey, look, anything for you, anything I do in this life, I'll try and do it to my best ability. That's something like that's sort of what I'm getting from him. And when we're
Mhm.
talking about it in the new age, you know, so basically you have, you don't have to limit yourself in terms of what you're putting in to try and have an outcome. Whenever you try to do something, to try and, reach some people in terms of whatever it's talking about, or
Mm.
music.
Mm.
So let's say music, like when you have a budget, don't hold back, try and, just think about it like you're trying to reach, do it for God. And then at the end of the day, it will all end up, it would all work out pretty much. It all works out.
So you're going on a different path, or you mix the two together, like if it was art form and music, or what you understood of the video, and what he was
What
talking about.
what I understood of the video, first of
Oh
all, like
yeah.
how I was saying, like
Mm.
because he came, what I got from him was more like
Mhm.
a spiritual type of, spiritual side. You know how, in some churches, like there's also budgets, where you
Mhm.
have to budget to,
Mhm.
like youth budgets, to take uh young people to, to
Mhm.
camps, or
Mhm.
bettering the environment for the church,
Mhm.
like the building,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. you know with that as well, if you hold back the budget, to try and better those, facilities, and helping the youth to go out and experience, God, and also mingle and make friends with each other, that can hold back, that can hold
Mhm.
them back, that can
Mhm.
hold them back from experiencing, like the God, and also experiencing the potential, like what
Mhm.
potential they have, and getting to what potential they can be, that
Mhm.
will actually hinder them from getting to that potential and stuff.
Mhm.
And so they always have to think about it, that the greater cause is actually God. So if you do
Mhm.
it for God, you won't hold back to put in, because the outcome is always greater than what we put in everything that we do, really.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. All right.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hearing him speak got me thinking about music and art, that he was talking about those things and the
Mm,
music industry and the art industry.
mm,
But it seems sort of like a new age type of way that he went into it,
mhm.
especially when he talk about vibration and things of that sort. But my beef with that is this. My problem with that is this. It's good and all to think that uh, whatever we do, if we do with God in mind and for the glory of God, it's good. However, God also in Jesus show us that there's a way to do things, and it requires wisdom to do things in the proper way. And it seems like we have arrived in an age and time where most people think that doing things for God and offering things for God has to do with material things and art and
Mm,
music and all everything, and then they completely take out the gospel out of it. That doing an offering for God, it starts with yourself. It starts to carrying your own cross. It starts with dying a little bit every day to yourself, to your pride, to your ego, and aiming to be more like Christ. It's
mm,
taking care of the poor and the widow and the orphan and the um, immigrant. It's being generous with those around you. It's listening and talking to the people where normally would be included in that group or that conversation. It's going out of your way to bring people around instead of dividing and pushing away.
mm,
So that's the only thing. It's good and all to do, to have, do material things and art and music and shows. It's great. However, if we're not living the gospel, because living the gospel is an offering to God, because
mhm,
as you try to live the gospel out, you are offering yourself to God, to
mm.
Jesus, right? Because you're
Okay.
trying to become more and more like Jesus, and Jesus is the only one who pleased God. So that's the problem that I have with that idea, is that we go so much to one side that we forget the foundation of everything else.
But
But
is he like a theologian or something like that? Is he
what
like
do
a
you mean?
preacher? Is
Who,
he
him?
is he a preacher? Like he the dude?
Rick Rubin is, you don't know Rick Rubin?
Bruh, I don't know him.
Angelo, take
He's
it
a
away.
music producer. He makes
From where?
music. He produced the Eminem song "I Got 99 Problems." The Jay-Z song
Mm,
"I Got 99 Problems," but the beat I want him it that beat, that's him. And
Okay.
the Eminem song of the Rap God, that's him. Uh,
Okay.
because when I
uh,
see
and
him,
and in
mm,
his defense, I think you just misunderstand him. He's talking from the creatively perspective, like for him to get things done, for him to achieve those things he's achieved, he's always has to do it like in the form of like as for the glory of God, and that's when he
Mm,
achieves greatness. When he's not in
mm.
that
but
mindset, he doesn't achieve much.
yeah,
That's
but
I think that's the only
yeah,
point I was talking about right there.
but if you
You
look
you
at
you
the
you you're
outcome
reading
of the
too.
art form, is not really for God, is it?
Well, it's entertaining. It's keeping his God's creatures busy. They're
Yeah,
bangers.
but it's
You can't
not
take that away
really.
from them. They're
It's
bangers. They
bangers, but
are.
it's not
They
So that's
lifting
why
are.
anybody up.
I really
Yeah,
wanted to see the full video to actually get the context of what it was talking about.
we
Because
can
that can
try
be
to find the
because
full video,
that
but
can be a little bit tricky talking from a perspective of only
mm,
just only about 10-second video. So but yeah, like, look, even if you're not Christian, right, there's some people that have managed to tap into that spirituality of doing stuff, even if they don't regard Jesus, or they don't know Jesus, or they don't do the religion that way, but like they have a connection with God, for some reason, and they end up doing stuff, or when they're doing things, or when they're creating whatever they're creating, like they sort of, connect with God in terms of whatever they're doing, even if it's not, Christian like, sometimes, God still blesses you. I think God blesses everybody. He blesses the good and the bad, like, and the people that are morally good or morally right, or morally wrong, he still blesses them. He blesses those people, like, and so I think from what he was talking about, I think he is, in that path of, appreciating when he focused on God and doing the things that his craft, when he wanted to create whatever was creating, when he actually thought about when he was doing it like for God, that's when he achieved all the things that he achieved.
And by the way, just FYI, art, yeah, is simply an expression of environment. If you come from Chicago, people kill each other and stuff, you're
Yeah.
gonna express that. You
Yeah.
cannot say that that's not like
Yeah.
that's bad art. No, it's what is expressing what's there,
Well,
and
I'm
that's
not
what those
saying
dudes say.
I'm not
It's just
saying it's a
expression
bad
of
art. What
yeah.
I'm trying to touch
No.
here is the spirituality point that
There's no
you
bad
can't
art. There's no
say
good
that
art.
you're connecting with God
Mm.
and the outcome is not connected to Him. You can think that you're offering to God, but
Well, that's an
can nobody
impact.
go? Can
Like
nobody go to God
the Jay-Z
except through
songs help
Jesus?
little black kids. That song like reminds you like
Man,
if you listen to that stuff,
Jay-Z is the
you
most
start respecting
perverted one,
yourself.
man.
Start respecting yourself as a young black man when you have to listen to that.
Jay-Z is
All right.
perverted, man.
Of,
Come
of,
on.
of course he
That's,
is.
Go watch the interview on the CEO of the CEO podcast, man, about the guy who came up with Jay-Z. Go
What's his
watch
name?
him.
Them
What he said.
Dash.
Huh? He said
Them,
Them
Kanye is the
Dash.
real
them Dash
one.
is still crying. Them Dash. Still
Kanye is
crying
the
to
real one,
today.
not Jay-Z. Come on, man. See, look, any image and connection with God that you have that is not through Jesus, it's a tough one to
Mm.
it becomes something else than what it's supposed to be. But hey, good to him.
Like, Lucas, do you know how I like to think about it? I like to think about it this way. If someone says they have a connection with God, like they're doing something with God or whatever, God, we might not know. Like the Bible says that we can know through the fruits of whatever they're doing, but truly, we don't really know what's happening there. Only God knows.
But
Because
if
I
Jesus
think
himself said you can only go to the Father through the Son, then
so we're focusing on us, like what we should be doing is just focus on us, because the truth, focus on you and
And
just do your
with that
best.
anyway, what do you ever mean with that? What happens to people that don't believe in that? They go, where do they go? What happens to them? What happens to the poor Native American that has no phone, no internet to go on TikTok to hear you speak? What happens to him? He goes to
you
hell
don't need
because
that.
he didn't hear Lucas preach. That's preposterous. That's
You
ridiculous.
you
That's a
don't need
ridiculous
that,
claim to
man.
make.
It's
That's
not
such
it's
a
not a
ridiculous
ridiculous
claim to
claim.
make.
It's not a ridiculous claim.
No,
Come
but
on,
Lucas,
Ben.
but
Huh?
but spirituality,
Look at
but
this.
spiritual. Hey,
It's not
like
ridiculous.
Lucas, do you remember that time I was like we were having a conversation? I was having this conversation with you. Like I had questions from people, like that exact question that Angela asked there. Like, so what do you think? Because a disciple actually asked that question to Jesus, exactly like Angela just asked there. Do you know what? Do you know what answer was, Angelo?
You have
Hmm.
seen the Father already. And the Father was in Jesus because it pleased God to have his full being in Christ.
Do you remember the answer, the one he gave to the disciple when he asked them, "How about the people that were before Abraham, or the people that were before even you, Jesus?" The answer was, "My God, my Father is a faithful Father and a merciful Father.
That's
Let's
what I
Yes.
can
live.
think.
Let's live.
That's what I can think.
Let's live that business between him and those people, between
But the
God
Yes.
and
answer
those
is in the
people."
Bible too. Everybody that came before Christ also got covered in the blood.
Yeah.
Because the promise was that the Messiah was going to come. Because God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And
So
God is the, I have mercy on who have mercy, and I have compassion on whom I have compassion.
where does this guy live? Where's he from?
He's American.
From
Recruit is
where?
American.
American where?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. We can look it up. We live in 2023, bro.
Yeah, share the screen. Look it up.
It's the modern day edge. Hold up. I had my phone in my hand. He's
Just
a
everyone,
co-founder of
everybody just goes silent for a
Def
minute.
Jam Recordings, and
Say what? Say that again. Say that again.
Go.
he's a co-founder of Def Jam Recordings,
Right.
co-founder of
Def
American
Jam.
Recordings, and
Yeah.
former co-president of Columbia Records.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Damn, that dude is
He's
rolling money.
something. He's
Yeah.
something. Yeah, he's swimming on money, man.
He's
Music
rolling money.
Friends. Why
He
Rush,
cries
Eminem, Bizek,
coins.
Weezer, we are all on drugs. Jay-Z, Nathan Problems, Men Don't Live, LL Cool J going back to Cali, Tougher Than Leather, Beastie Boys, Fight for Your Rights. You know the song, You Gotta Fight for Your Rights to Party.
Yeah,
Live
yeah,
a
yeah.
little, all right?
Mm.
Live a little, gentlemen. Yes, he's got credits on all those songs. Dude is a busy
Nice.
guy.
Anyway.
He's a busy guy.
All
All
right.
right. And
Perfect.
in that
And
area too, I'd like to say if there's a God out there, I'm not even a God, yeah? I'm not even a God. I'm a human being that's 40. I'll be that logical to be like, all right, just be a nice person, yeah? Just be a nice person and you'll be enter the kingdom of heaven. You don't need like some code like the Ku Klux Klan or the Luciferian to enter to heaven. No, just be a nice person and you enter do nice things, do not do negative things on earth and you enter the kingdom of heaven. That's
if you
logical
go by that
enough.
logic, then
That's
you don't
logical
need God.
enough. Huh?
If you go by that logic, you don't need God because then
Because
you
I
get
think
saved by the works.
even that way, you're minimizing God, even looking at it that way, you're minimizing him to like some Ku Klux Klan kind of thing. The universe is so big that that's so abysmal, so
No,
abysmal. That idea.
you're missing something there. You're saying if we go by that logic, you don't need
Mm.
God. If you just be a good person and do nice things, then you don't need God.
Why? Why don't you need God?
Because then you're getting you saving yourself. He's not saving you.
Well, he's given you free will, hasn't he?
Yeah, but there's no salvation. There's no need.
Yes,
You only
given you
need
free
yourself.
will, so you
don't need an
choose.
outside power to do it for you, right? But if you do it by grace, that means it's by grace. It's by his power that you're saved, not by you.
Everything in nature is by his grace. Everything, the black holes, the stars,
Yeah,
the
but
galaxies, everything.
you can't go if you
You
just
can
be a
just
good person
minimize it
and
to
do nice
that. So
things,
that's
you get
something
saved because
small.
then
That's
you
small
don't need
thing.
God. You can do
About
yourself.
getting into heaven, you don't have to beat your meat not to get into heaven. What you talking about?
Oh my God. This guy. This guy's a knucklehead.
Oh my God.
We are
We're on the podcast, bro. This is the B.R.A. podcast.
Yeah, welcome,
God
guys.
damn
Welcome.
it.
We beef each other on here.
I'm being an idiot. I'm being an idiot.
Listen,
I'm being an
listen.
idiot.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you've clarified that. And, I'm glad you've clarified
Stop playing
that.
with people.
He just took that one out of nowhere. You
But-
just
but-
took that one out of nowhere. You just
But
took that
also-
one out of nowhere.
Now, look, hear me out. Hear me out. I think we should move on to the next subject.
Yes,
But
I think
yeah,
the same thing.
but before we move on to the next subject, but here's my
But
thought.
he was saying a good message, though. He was all of us saying a good message, though. We can agree on that, yeah?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
for
We
sure.
agree on
Yeah,
that.
for
It's
sure.
not bad.
Yeah,
It's
for
we
sure.
agree on that.
Definitely.
Mm.
And
All
we
right.
should we should encourage that more for people to actually, get in tuned with, even if you have an imaginary God that you actually, trying to give an offering to by trying to do your best, to try and achieve whatever you need to achieve. Let's do that. Because that way, the more like God said, you draw yourself close to me, and I'll draw myself close to you. That's how it works, And us who are in tune with reality, with spirituality, with God, we're not out here, to look at them and be like, oh, you're not doing it right, or it's their journey. If they need work, like if they need help, well, maybe we help. But if they didn't ask for help, we should just pray for them. That's all we should come to. We shouldn't come out there and try and be like, oh, you did this wrong, or you're doing that, you did that wrong, and stuff like that. Nah, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. But yeah, let's roll.
What's the next one? Mr. Sa?
The next one is Mr. Killer Mike.
Oh, yes. That one is going to be
Okay,
hilarious.
this gonna this
we
we're gonna oh man, this is gonna be some you better get your socks, get some water and some
Jesus
milk.
Christ.
You're gonna need
yeah.
some milk for this one.
Send it wrong, let's go.
You're gonna need some milk. All right.
Oh yeah. You guys.
I mean, if you
fucking
read
hell.
the Bible, it's a pretty interesting book. The first half, man, when it
No,
talks
you
about
don't
the kings
say.
and their want for women. You look at King David and his want for Bathsheba, sent the man to the front lines to die. You know,
And it's been throughout history.
Yeah.
People have been
Yeah.
involved in those kind of situations. The wrong person
I
in your
actually-
life.
I actually think that's what parts of the Bible are about. Again, I'm not a believer in even the Abrahamic religion when I was raised, so I'm trying to take lessons from what I was learning. A lot of that shit was just about, bro.
Yeah.
It gets crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
That's their version of it gets crazy,
It gets
bro.
crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You know, think about what
There's
you're doing.
lessons to learn.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for, bro. You wanted
Yeah.
her, bro.
Yeah.
You know, your first child is gonna die
Yeah.
with her. You know, it's like, God damn, bro. You know, but you get an amazingly talented kid out of her too. You get to redeem it all, but God's gonna let you feel it a little. You
How
know?
much would you have been there when they first started? writing that
They're
stuff
gonna
down?
let you feel it a little
All right,
bit.
for if you're watching this and you don't know, he's talking about David and Bathsheba. David was the king, and he took somebody's wife and ended up killing the man, and then they had a baby, and the baby died because he sinned against God. So that's what he's talking about there.
I try to figure out, what did you know? Where are you getting these stories from?
I just would have liked to inject, hey man, can we make sure Africa, we could talk more about the black folks. You know, that's all I would have just been like.
Yeah, how come
like
it's not in there?
Yeah, like bro, like come on, bro, like we were there. Like not only there, you know Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, all these, like all this shit once was just Nubia, even before it was called Egypt. Like it's like, come on, bro. Like a lot of this shit is based on, like, why do the Ten Commandments sound eerily like these affirmations from Egypt? Like what? Like
Yeah.
what? I would have said, but man, I gotta just say, man, to Western society, propaganda, man, y'all have mastered this shit. Whoever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? When the church decided, blacks and Jewish people, man, they're like animals. You can enslave them. And Ferdinand and Isabella was like, fuck it, let's run this shit. Y'all propaganda campaign been mean, man. And not because it necessarily subjugated people like me.
But what do you think about that? Do you think the scriptures subjugated people or freed more people? In your opinion? Psychologically or physically or whatever, or in whichever way you may look at it. The both of yous. If you both want to answer.
I'll say both. I'll say both. Both in a way that it's freed people for themselves, with the word that's that really opened their hearts, their life to getting close to God. And that way, when they meet God, you get free. You're free, even though you're going through stuff. You're free. Like you really feel like your shoulder is light. There's that there's that aspect. At least, if you're really following the word and you're actually spending time with God, you actually know God for real. Because there's some Christians that know God for real, and there's some Christians that do not know God for real. And now, when we're talking about those Christians that do not know God for real, now those guys are the ones that are enslaved. Those guys are the ones that are not free. Like it's sort of, controlled. Like it's a way to try and get people to, to behave a certain way. To be good.
Because hypnosis.
Yeah, because naturally, we're not really, really, really good people, but, at least with the word, with the Bible, it sort of helps us, stay in line a little bit, at least for those people that are not in tune with reality. When they read it, they're like, oh, like love your neighbors, you love yourself. When they read it, they're like, okay, I got to try and do that so I can go to heaven. But really, you're not doing that because you need to go to heaven. You're just trying to, to try and please yourself, so you can show other people that, here, look at me, I'm a good person, look at me over here. But really, you are still in chains, you're still a slave, you're not free. Freedom comes from knowing that you're not perfect. We cannot have it all. Like I cannot be the best at what I can do, but with Christ, with God in my life, then that's what makes a difference. And that makes me free because it died for me. God sent his own son on this earth, obviously in the New Testament, so I can, have eternal life, and that's the real idea behind that. So those are the two aspects of what I'm thinking. I can deep dive in a little bit more into the information, like into the nitty gritty. But no, for now, let's just end with that. That's what I'm thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah. What do you think, Lucas?
First, let's clarify one thing. The Bible was written by Hebrews, to Hebrews, for Hebrews, in Hebrews, by Hebrews. That's it.
What
So
Bible? The Torah?
the Torah, the Tanakh, and the New Covenant. Even though it was written in Greek, it's Jewish Greek, by Jews, for Jews, to Jews, and then Gentiles. So everybody can argue why I'm not in there, why I'm not in here. Well, you know,
They didn't care
God
for
chose
that.
his own people and went that way. And
Lies too, though. Those are
who am
lies
I?
too, though.
Who
We are
am I
all
to
God's
question
people.
God?
We were all God's people. What are you
Well,
talking about?
we are all God's people. Yeah,
Even
that's
Yeah,
niggas,
what
but
that's what I
even
understand.
niggas were God's
but you
people.
don't
What
see.
you
Here's
talking
okay. Abraham
Mm,
wasn't Jewish when God first called him, right? He
yeah.
was also a Gentile, and then God chose those people because it was through those people that He was gonna save everyone else. This is why
And that
focus.
and then from Abraham, that's where Jesus came from, right?
Yes, Abraham and through the Davidic line. So you know what I mean. Abraham was also a Gentile.
AKA Jesus is not really Jewish as well. Technically.
Look, we can argue all we want. I'm like
Yeah,
kind of sick and
I'm
tired
just
with
thinking.
this.
I'm,
I
I'm, I'm
know,
just
I know,
thinking. Yeah, just thinking
but
about it. But
I'm
yeah, go
just
keep going.
really tired of this. Everyone just like, oh, Jesus is black, he's Asian, he's Russian. It doesn't matter.
Oh, but that nigga was black though.
It doesn't matter because he's
Yeah.
God. That's what we should
Oh,
focus on.
yeah.
It
True.
doesn't matter. We bring in too much culture into our own culture and our own point of
Yeah.
view and personality into the gospel.
Mm.
Things are going sideways. That's why so many different gospels out there and everyone's going astray because nobody wants to focus on what they need to focus. Now, with the scriptures that we're talking, um, the thing is, God freed us through Christ from sin and sin alone. That's the reason Christ came to the world the first time, is to free us from sin, not from anything else but sin. Now, in the old covenant, in the Tanakh, in the Torah, when God set up the Jewish nation, He put in places. Obviously, He working with humans, with people who had perverted hearts and whose hearts were hardening so much that they were prostituting themselves with idols and other gods throughout the history. That's why God always needed prophets to try to pull people back, and that was the promise that Christ was going to come, so He would redeem His people through Christ. There was laws put in place even about slavery, that every seventh year people would be set free, and there was laws put in place that when you set somebody free, you just don't let them free with nothing. You give them the tools and other things that are necessary for them to build themselves up. And in ancient times, slavery wasn't just something to oppress people, but it was also something that you do when you go in debt, or when you don't have nothing, you sell yourself to someone so you can have something. Obviously, outside of the Jewish culture, it was much more harder in that sense, but because of the perversion and the hardening of their hearts, they also got to a point where it wasn't good. That's why God used Assyria, Persia, Babylon, and the Greece in order to punish them or discipline them. That's a better word. Now, did the scriptures free more people or captivate more people? Well, humans has done that. We have done that. We have used scripture in a perverted way to keep people at bay, to hold power, to keep them in captivity. We have done that throughout history since the beginning. But Jesus has warned us that that would happen. So even though it's happening, it has happened, and it's still happening, it was talked about from the beginning. So it's both, but we have done that. So we
So
can't
pretty much
put
what
the
I
blame on
said,
God.
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
guess.
so that's pretty much what I said there. Well, you said, you were trying to be a teacher right now, bro. But anyway, that's good.
Sorry, I
You
can't
know,
help it, man. I can't help it. I
No,
can't
that's
help it.
good. Is
Anyway,
that like, does
what
that
do you
answer your
think,
question,
Angelo?
Angelo?
What do you think, Angelo?
Well, from
Does
what
that
he's
answer
talking
your question?
about, yeah, that's the question. But from what he's talking about, from like the writing of the Bible and the intentions of it, that's what they're talking about. And from what they're talking about, I think actually I don't know. I think it's done more good than bad. But it's not bad, but it's not more good.
Oh, that's a lot of bad, man. There was a
Yes,
lot of
it's,
bad.
it's not bad, but it's not more good than bad.
Yeah.
Because without touching the Catholic Church, without touching the Templars, the Knight Templars, without touching the Holocaust, which was propagated by it too, Jim Crow propagated by it too, slavery, without touching any of those things, it's done good more than bad. It's done good. It's
Right.
changed people. It's just people's ways.
Mm.
Despite of that.
It just also depends whether you believe that all the scriptures breathed by the Holy Spirit from God or not. If you don't believe, then obviously you're gonna think
It's just a
some,
book.
some nigga from
It's just a
4,
normal
5,
book.
6,000 years ago was just there. I'm gonna write the story. If you
Yeah.
don't believe, you're gonna think that way. But if you believe, that Christ is the Son of God and you proclaim such things.
Let's see. Let's finish.
Okay.
Me to the brutalities of slavery and shit like that.
Actually, yeah,
It convinced poor.
Huh?
I think he talks about. I just talked about in some way. So we're talking about slavery right now. Carry on.
Yeah, he is.
White people that we're good for you. The one of the most brutal things about not wanting to know true and factual history is you don't understand how you're being fucked over too. It's like if you look at the word cracker. Cracker is not something that black people made up. I used to think, when you were young, you would hear, it means whip cracker. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. It was a derogatory term that people in the United Kingdom used for countryer, slower white folks. Crackers and gypsies. Gypsies were the people known to populate Upper Georgia, Lower Tennessee, Alabama, places like that. The redneck was also one of the terms. We didn't make these terms up. These terms came from the master class, or what they would call the planter class, who used poor white people. And when too many, Tim Wise talked about this, when too many poor white people and black people who were seen as equals at one point kind of united and had a few rebellions, they were like, no, we got to put an end to this shit. So I would just say, man, I wish that whoever was writing the Bible or remixing it would have put a little more commonality in there so you wouldn't get all this weird, funky division, and the master still kind of rule us all,
Well, it's still always the people that are in charge that
Yeah.
are disseminating that information initially. And they always have some sort of an interest in framing it in a way that suits them the best. Like even in the foundation of the country, all men are created equal.
Yeah.
So what they had to do to justify that is to say that black men are 3/5 of a man.
Yep, three.
So they're literally putting it into
Yeah.
the way they structure the country.
Yeah. And there was an economic incentive to do it,
Yes.
And that doesn't make it right, but it helps my community understand that the shit's about money and why they did it. But why did the church do it?
It's just
So you got to think about that though. Before we get to America, and I guess the church, the Catholic Church at one point says, we can go ahead and tell everybody all human beings are equal. Let's stop bullshit. But instead they choose to say Jews and black people are different. And Ferdinand and Isabella and Portugal and said, well, fuck it, it's on. And the transatlantic slave trade starts. So my thing is getting back to why was the Bible written like that, gets back to, so why would the church allow that? And then you get to ask, well, if the church allowed that, then why aren't they included in there? And beyond who's the bad guy, what empires in Africa are we not talking about? What kings have we not talked about? What great and glorious? Because the Greeks looked at Africans like they were gods.
Yes.
They look at these motherfuckers. These are the illest motherfuckers on earth.
Whoever was there during the construction of the pyramids has created the most insane structures the world's ever known.
Count Volney says, and they made him retract it, but he said of ruins of empires, he said, it is obvious to me that the people we now subjugate to slavery, these dark-haired, kinky-haired, these dark, kinky-haired people were once the rulers and builders. They put this shit here. He said that. He was an Orientalist, which were people who were sent out of their countries to, you know, to go study Asia, Eastern African shit. This motherfucker standing there like, the motherfuckers that built this shit, somehow we've subjugated slavery. And when people say, you know, if you were smart enough to do that, how could you be made a slave? Genghis Khan wasn't particularly smart. He was violent.
Pause
and
right
brutal.
there. Pause right
And
there,
a lot
Mr.
of-
Lucas. See, what we're talking about right there, that's the issue I have with it. Because for some weird reason, yeah, when dudes become too religious, they send the team to ignore.
Oh, bro.
They tend to ignore that
Hold on.
reason.
Hold
some
on.
weird reason.
Hold on.
Mm.
The live stream was interrupted.
Oh no! Wait, we still live. I'm still
No,
live.
I just got the email because it got copyrighted. Because we watching Joe Rogan. Damn it.
Oh yeah, true.
Ah.
Oh, you're supposed to mute. You should mute it or fast forward it, you know, and stuff like that, you know.
But I would think we got the email.
but also
Are we still
pausing
live
it-
or not? Let's
We're
have
still
a look.
live.
Are you
Still
sure?
live. Yeah.
They saying
But also,
that-
but
Hold
also
on.
pausing it does, you know, like removes the copyright as well.
No, we're still live.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
still
we're
live. Keep
No,
going,
it's
bro.
not. It's not. It's not live. Can you see?
Ashawo. Ashawo. Yeah, I can see, bro. I can see.
Oh, what a day.
What a day, what a day, what a day.
Oh,
what
let
a
me
day.
see.
No, we're not live.
No, stream unavailable. Stream suspended for policy violations.
It's some crap.
That's dog. That's just dog. Yeah. That's just big dog.
So we can't even react to videos.
Apparently,
Oh, because YouTube is too small and tiny, that's right.
It's more time.
Small and tiny. You
Or
know,
maybe it's
no,
because
we ain't
I-
making so much money though. Once we start making money, that's when they're gonna start giving us all the. you know,
maybe
like the-
I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have. Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah, because this guy is pretty big and
Yeah.
it,
What do we want? What do you want to do now? Man, this thing just went sideways.
we just watch this and then get back into the stream real quick and finish up and just talk about what we think. And then just apologize on the thing and this is
Sometimes
what,
the
like
people
this
who
is
won have been the most violent and brutal.
Well, Genghis Khan was both, but
Yeah.
he was
Anyway.
both violent, brutal, and very
All right,
intelligent.
next
But
time.
just intelligent from a military way?
Yes.
Okay.
Tactically.
No,
I
no,
mean,
but I'm talking
socially,
beyond
he was
military. Like
horrific.
what did he build?
Oh, there was no building.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it was just figuring out how to destroy empires.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's not the same though as building an empire. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
No, it's definitely
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah, it doesn't. It I know some gang leaders that are
Right.
comparable to
It
war
doesn't
generals,
matter.
right? But the question becomes, who are the people that are going to build the next empire?
Right.
And I think that's where the danger in the old world of when the church was really government, the church conspiring with warlords for certain things to be destroyed, so they can then come and assume control of. You know,
Well,
because ultimately,
all
even the
right.
most brutal people don't end up winning. The most shrewd people do. That small circle of brilliant motherfuckers that know how to control. Like, you know, beyond Genghis, who were his advisors? Who profited most from it? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he was famous for capturing armies and incorporating their generals.
Yeah, that's
He would, you know, and if someone tried to surrender, he would just kill them because he would say, "Well, what are you going to do with me? Like, why would I do that?"
oh shit.
So they would say, "I've surrendered. I'm coming to you." And he'd go, "Oh, really? Well, I'm going to fucking kill you because you have no loyalty, you piece
Oh wow.
of shit."
Oh wow.
But he would take over like it with certain generals and certain he would bring them in and just accept them. He was completely open to any religion. He goes, I don't give a fuck.
He was brilliant for that.
What your religion is.
He was brilliant for that.
You could be whatever you want. We're here to fuck people up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And fuck, because apparently he left
fuck.
a lot of descendants.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were like one of us three has Genghis Khan blood in our body as family.
It's something crazy like that. We've talked about it many times, and I always forget what the percentage is.
That's funny.
All right, so we gotta go live again. This sucks.
Yeah, we just finish it up. There's nothing knock off.
I bet if it wasn't Joe Rogan, then this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So does that mean we can't even like put the video?
That's impressive though, how quickly the bots can find you.
I know.
That's tough.
Like we have 7 episodes. When
I remember the last time as well, we actually watched a full-on